were you struggling with before starting our program?
The YOLO diet. Just not really wanting to acknowledge that my decisions had consequences, and just kind of eating and living as if there were no consequences, and that just wasn't working out.
Real quick, can you tell us about, how old are you, your background, what you do for work?
I'm 36 years old. I was a public school teacher for 10 years. The last couple of years, I've actually been a financial educator, and then I also have a financial services business that I run on the side.
Awesome. So you're married, have kids?
Yep. Married my wife Autumn. She's 32, and she is doing the program with me. She's lost quite a bit of weight as well, and I have 2 children. My daughter turned 3 today, and my son is about 1.5 years.
Awesome. So you are really freaking busy. Awesome. So before starting our program, what were you skeptical of?
I don't know. I think just finding the right thing that worked for me. I had tried multiple approaches to weight loss before. I tried shakes. I tried just doing my own thing as far as eating my own stuff that I thought was better. Trying to actually, I've tried multiple shake programs, to be completely honest. Going to the gym, just trying to do a lot of things. Some things were successful. Some things were more successful than others. Some things not successful at all. So really, it was just a matter of, what is this program going to, how is it going to work for me? Is it even going to work for me? That was my biggest concern going in.
Got it. And what held you back from taking action sooner?
Really just, I guess probably being comfortable with how things were going, being able to tolerate the consequences as they were, knowing that I was putting on weight, knowing that I wasn't living my healthiest lifestyle, my best life for my kids, and just knowing that, what I was doing wasn't working, and yet I was still okay with it. Like it was kind of like the whole story about the frog in the pot. As you increase the heat gradually, it just acclimates to its environment, and then it just slowly dies in the pot. And so that's really what it was. It was just me putting myself through a slow death, and I was just okay with it every step of the way. And then something changed, and I just my wife decided to take a drastic measure, and I saw it working for her, and I thought, man, I need to do the same. So I followed her lead.
That's awesome. You guys are definitely a power couple getting some results together. And so what finally convinced you to take action? You talked about that a little bit. Your wife started seeing results, but what made you finally want to take action, convinced you to take action?
Well, it was a couple things. A family member of mine, let me back up even before that. So when you're a big guy like myself, 6'5", pushing 350, clothes are not as cheap as for smaller people, especially professional clothes that I wear at my job. And I got dinged on my professionalism in my evaluation because I didn't wear a collar every day. And now the thing is like I wore a collar most days in the spring and summer and fall, but in the winter I had these nicer, more sweater type. I mean, they were professional, but they didn't have a collar. And the VP of my department dinged me for it, and told my boss to redo my evaluation. And essentially, my wife had told me that sometimes, she kind of explained that further as to why he felt that way, that it was unprofessional, and told me that overweight people are typically viewed in the professional world as just sloppy people in general. And so that really hit me hard, that even though I had presented financial empowerment and financial literacy lessons to over 10,000 people in that in about probably about an 8-month period total, over 10,000 people I had presented to, that didn't matter. What mattered is that I didn't have a collar on. And so that really bothered me. And I ultimately, a few weeks after that, a relative of mine I was visiting put their arm around me and patted me on my stomach and said, "You need to do something about this." And I said, "Wow." And they go, "Well, you need to be around to walk your daughter down the aisle." And that really just really hurt. It really pricked me really hard. And at that point, I thought, okay. And then when Autumn started doing this, it just seemed like an obvious, next move was to jump in with her.
That's awesome. And what were your specific results that you've gotten so far from our program?
So far, since I've started the program, I think I've lost just shy of, was it 30 pounds or right at 30 pounds? I know a little over 20 of it has been actual body fat. My lean mass has stayed pretty much the same, so I know it's all been actual body fat and not just other, muscle mass, water, anything like that. And anyway, 1 second, I got to yell at my daughter. Okay, thanks. So that's been a big deal. My clothes fit better. I've actually had to buy a new belt. Had to buy new pants.
What size were you before, and what size are you now?
I bought. I think my belt I had was like a 46 or 48, and I was on the very last notch. And I bought a 44, and when I bought it, I was on like the second notch, and then like today, which is like 2 or 3 days later, I'm on the third notch already. So, and then my pants, I wore about a 44, and then I bought a 42. And my shirts, I got a whole bunch of shirts for my birthday before the coronavirus stuff happened. And they were all like 3XL T, they're all big shirts. And I wore one of them today for the first time because the weather was appropriate for them. And it was really loose and big. And so that was cool. I feel like I have a little more energy. My wife has paid me a few compliments. And
what did she say?
Well, I don't know if you want me to say all that, but it was flattering for sure. But it was she could tell. She said I can tell the difference in various ways. So yeah, it was good.
That's awesome. And what were your big breakthroughs on this program?
I think just understanding a little more about the process. Going through different regimens before, I learned a little bit each time. And so coming to this program, I've learned a few things that I didn't know before, which for me, I'm a very technical in the weeds kind of person. And so that was very beneficial for me, just learning a little more of the nuts and bolts of weight loss and healthy lifestyle. And so that's been really good for me, knowing that I can just, if I'm more proactive and organized, that it's a lot easier to accomplish my goals, just like in any area of life. That's been really helpful. And one of the things too, I know this, might be kind of silly, but when Rob and you talked about the, I'm not going to say it right, the reticular activating system, that really, my mind took that and ran with it, and it actually impacted multiple areas of my life to understand that how I respond to certain stimulus and how other people respond to it is not necessarily about the issue, but something triggers something else, and so they're responding to something else that's happened in the past, which is a lot along the lines of the premise of the 4 decisions, if you've ever read that book. But anyway, no, that in and of itself has been very a breakthrough for me. The particular how so?
Yeah.
Well, in my financial services business that I do, I have a great team of people around me, and a lot of times we do talk about goal setting, we talk about mindset, we talk about, just and even like in my church, a lot of times we talk about what are the what are the things pouring into you? What is getting through your filters of your mind and your heart? You know, what's getting through the filters into you as a person? And the thing about it is, when Rob talked about the reticular activating system and how that is essentially, when that is sparked, it either gives a positive reaction or a negative reaction based on all the things that you've thought about and heard over and over and over. And so what you dwell upon is not necessarily what is happening in the moment, but it's what is activated in that part of your brain. And so, you know, if I say something, you know, like if someone says something to me in a moment that has everything for them, has everything to do for that moment, but for me, it maybe it activates some painful memory from my childhood. I'm no longer present in that moment, and I'm reliving that in the past. And so the reason why that's important is because it's like I said, the nuts and bolts and the weeds, if you will, of why it's so important to constantly put yourself, put positive messages, images in front of you, have positive images go through your ears into your mind, speak positive words over people so you're not contributing to the junk in their own life. And then just really, it really is what determines whether or not you achieve your goals, is because when something triggers that system, whatever money you've been depositing in that bank, that's your balance. And so if someone goes to make a, you know, something happens, something is said, you know, that triggers that, is what happens is, whether it's good or positive, you know, or positive or negative, is going to determine what all's gone into it before. You know, and I talked about that too, the story of the two wolves in us all. One represents good and one represents evil, or success or failure, or success or, you know, settling for not for good enough, you know, whatever, however you want to look at it. um, what determines which wolf wins is which one you feed. And so feeding your good wolf that you want to win, positive, empowering, quality uh, ingredients, food, that's what's going to determine if you're successful or not, more than anything else. That's a long answer.
I love that answer, and it brings up a lot of different really, really good points. So how have you been feeding this new identity of yours, the one that is at, I mean, you said your goal was to lose another 30 pounds
Yeah.
the next, was it 3 months? What?
Yeah.
3 months. Like how are you feeding this wolf? That's the fit version, fit dad, amazing husband. I know family's a huge deal to you.
Yeah.
A successful entrepreneur. How is that? How is this? How are you feeding this wolf?
Well, you know, I try, I plug in, I buy into the system, you know, which with you guys includes a community. And even if that community isn't necessarily interactive with each other, we're all present, you know, to hear the positive things that you guys have to present to us. So that helps, you know, a mindset call once a week and a nutrition call once a week, just to keep everything on the forefront of the mind. You know, really looking at everything through that lens of, you know, like when I go to church and hear a sermon, or if I see some little nugget of truth on Facebook, you know, even, I look at it through that lens of, how can this help me achieve my goals? How can I, you know, what can I take from this to encourage me and plug into that RAS system? And then, so that's a big one. Another one is I created a vision board of things that, you know, with pictures around the edges, that of what I want my life to look like. Yeah. What I want my life to look like, you know, down the road, but then also declarations that I read out loud every day, to keep those things, again, on the forefront of my mind of who I am, what I want to be known as, what I want to, who I want to be, what I want to accomplish, things like that.
That's awesome. Will you mind sharing a few of the either your visions or maybe some of the things that you tell yourself in order to keep it in the forefront of your minds?
Yeah. So, just one of them is that I am a person who is known for living out my convictions, and my values, and not compromising. It's easy to it's easy to compromise when you're surrounded by people who uh, what's the word, who enable you to compromise, enablers. But it's more worthwhile to do what the hard thing is, which is to stick to your guns, do what you know to be right, because that's where we all want to be. And that's really what makes us successful, is when we push through that comfort zone and get to where we know we want to go, where our heart is longing to take us into a better life. And so that's one of them, to live according to my convictions. Another one is just to be a good steward. That's very important to me, because I'm very, very blessed in my life to have the family I have, to have the job that I have, to have the successful business that I have, the talents and abilities, all those things. I feel it is my responsibility to be a good steward of those things, and my kids to see that, to know that, to be given a gift and to be passive about it and to let it go by the wayside is not good stewardship. To have money and not use it for good purposes, and to spend frivolously, is not good stewardship. To have the time we're given on earth and to waste it is not good stewardship. And so I want to live the example in front of my children of what good stewardship looks like. So that's just a couple of my convictions and declarations that I read every day.
That's absolutely phenomenal. I love that. So who would you recommend this program for?
Man, really anybody that needs to do something different, that has a hard time doing it on their own. Because I know for me, I once had in my weight loss journey, I had a great season of weight loss, right before and after I met Autumn, and I had great coaches that I talked to daily and met with weekly, and they held me accountable. They asked me the hard questions. And if a person really wants change in their life, um, and really it doesn't even have to be health. If they want any kind of positive change in their life, because the two areas where it's hardest to make changes is your finances and your health. And if a person wants any kind of change in learning how to set good health goals, follow a health regimen, and really, really do what it takes to get there, anything else, will be easy, I think. Because the principles of setting goals and working and taking actionable steps to achieve them are the same in any arena of life. And so anybody who wants to have any sort of develop any sort of momentum in their life in any area, this is a program for them. But they have to be willing to, number one, to buy in, and they have to be willing, and part of that is to be open and honest and vulnerable and coachable, because you can do a lot and say a lot on the other side of the Zoom call, on the other side of the app, but if a person is really going through it like they should, logging everything, being honest, being open, then the facts won't lie, and they won't be able to hide. You know what I'm saying? So I would recommend it for anybody that wants to develop any traction in their life, but also that's willing to do what's necessary, no matter how hard it is.
That's awesome. I love that. And what would you say to somebody who just signed up? Maybe they're a little nervous and a little bit scared about starting our program. What advice to the newbies would you give?
Don't sweat that. That's normal. As you begin to see results, you will know that it works. And results a lot of times are small and short-lived in the beginning because it takes time to develop that traction. But as you begin to do it and stick with it, those results can become exponential in the long run. And that's really what we all want. You know, we all want those big results, but you have to go through the first baby steps to get there. So
awesome. Well, anything else that you want to share, advice you want to give to others that are just starting their journey, or any sort of insights for people starting out, that type of thing?
I would say it's no coincidence that a person is here. It's no coincidence they're in this program. The stars have aligned and the paths have crossed for a reason. So just accept it, lean in, buy in, be accountable, be vulnerable, be transparent, be coachable. And if you do all those things, there's no way that you will regret it in the end.
Well said. Thank you so much for sharing all that. That was really, really impactful. I think that
Yeah, sure thing.
It's going to show a lot of insight on people on their weight loss journey, starting out for the first time, thinking, "Oh man, I don't know how to get there. I don't know what it's like to even be 30 pounds down." You know?
Yeah.
When you signed up for the program, how much weight did you want to lose? Remind me again.
I think I talked to Rob about 40 pounds was.
Guess what? You're 30
almost there.
down, 10 pounds down, and we had to change your goal. So I'm so proud of you. That's crazy. If you were to look at yourself, if you were to be able to talk to yourself when you just first started out in the program, what would you say? What would you say to him? To the Joe that just started, nervous.
Kind of what I just said, man. You're here for, there's no coincidence that you're here.
Yeah.
So just accept it, buy in, lean in, do it. Shut up and do it.
Love it. No excuses.
That's it.
Love it.
Just do it.
Love it.